Hello. Welcome back to the weekly Monday Motivation Podcast. No more excuses. I am your host, Sandy Ballard, the Badass Business Coach. Thank you for being here, for listening, and sharing this podcast with others. And welcome to week 286. And if you listened in last week, you will have heard me say, hey, this may sound a little different this time. And it is, again, as we are in our temporary place, and now there's the dog barking. And I can't control any of this nonsense. So it is what it is. You either want to continue listening or not. Anyway, I hope you do. And so don't forget to follow me on social media to continue the challenges, questions, and the opportunity for continued growth. So last Monday's podcast was about burnout. It happens quite a bit. And I just saw it last week in my networking group. I mentioned this last Monday. A guy who is my networking group is being snarky, and it's just not like him. And I found out he had only been sleeping 2 to 4 hours a night. And I said, dude, got to stop doing that. You got to sleep. And guess what? He's now sick. Yes, not with the goddamn COVID, not with the vid, people, just a cold. But, that's what happens. You burn yourself out, you get sick, you wear yourself out. There is a super fine line between really needing to work your ass off one more hour or multiple sleepless nights to get something completed and just that you're overdoing it. The key is recognizing that it's happening and stop it. Stop it. It's not sustainable. As I mentioned last Monday, you're burning the candle at both ends. And at what cost? Your reputation? Your health? Both? It all adds up to money. And, my men's group last week, we discussed this as well. None of them sleep well or much. One tried to delegate without strong expectations and got burned, so he took the work back. Another's reputation is starting to slip as he's behind a little bit and doesn't say no. So he's always adding to his to-do list, and they're all a priority. Calls are coming from out of the woodwork, and it just, he's taking it on, and, people ask him, and he does favors, and then, people just, friends and family, and just shit, right? It all has to get done, but at what cost? All of them need to learn to let go, teach, and set clear expectations and stronger boundaries. And it's hard because, boundaries in a sense are you saying no to someone or not right now. And people might not be used to that. And it hurts. It hurts you. It hurts your soul because you're used to saying yes. And you're used to saying, yeah, I can help you. I can help everyone. But once you check your progress and identify what's getting in the way or what's taking you off track, you'll probably see that it's overcommitment, lack of prioritizing, and it all stems from the inability to say no, which is lack of boundaries. See that how it all works together? And yeah, you may have staff, assistants, volunteers, or someone to help, and they disappoint you. They screw shit up or even ghost you. Had it all happen to me. And what about you? If you're flying solo, that probably means you're doing it all and are at risk of burnout. I'm solo, have been for years, but I've learned because of all that, sort of, I try, but I've learned how to not get burned out. But what's happening for me right now is a lack of growth and missed opportunities because I don't want to overcommit and I don't want to burn out. As I was talking with one of my tribe, and I told her I'm not practicing what I preach because I'm in the weeds way too much. I had help, but shit happened. So as a business owner, you just jump back in and handle it, right? I even had clients who have help, and due to mistakes or from staff or whatever bullshit reason, they quote-unquote handle it. They fix the mistakes or just do the work because it's easier. It takes less time, which, one of my guys said last week. It takes less time, and it'll take longer for me to train this person than to do it myself. Well, that goes back to clear expectations and taking the time now so you have more time for you and the business later. I did, luckily, just have one of my helpers recommit, which will help tremendously. There were some things she needed to work out. Cool. It was great. And but now I still need help to grow in additional areas, specifically my women's group, the Taboo Tribe, as it's meant to be a global community. Asking for help, it can be hard, it can be frustrating, and it doesn't always work out. Learning how to ask the right person, learning how to ask for the right help. What is it that you truly need help with? I've talked about what's falling off your plate. It's confusing and can screw shit up. Hence the reason people stop doing it. They stop asking. Or, you get caught back up like me and doing it yourself because shit needs to get done, right? I'm pretty sure that I sound like a broken record probably this year, probably always, but for the love of whatever is good and holy in your world, make a list, prioritize, check your progress, and identify what you should delegate, aka what is below your pay grade. Think about it. What would you pay yourself for that type of help? For example, my good friend Mark Dolfini, who has a property management company, he's also the landlord coach. He told me, this was years ago, he told me that even more years ago, was his big shift in the company. His company came when he was, losing money. He didn't know what to do, and he was talking to a mentor and identified that he was doing work that he'd technically pay someone to do 11 to 12 hours, or $11 to $12 an hour to do. So he was paying himself a wage that's way below what his hourly rate is. So it's identifying that even. So if you own a company and you are you are the owner, but looking at what do you do in the business, right? What's your hourly rate, or what should it be? I had a workshop years ago that said just because you're a chef doesn't mean you can run a restaurant. So, think about who you are in your business. If you have a restaurant business and you are a chef, then who's around you? Who's managing the business? Who's the GM? Who's at the front door? Who's, cooking as well? That type of stuff. Looking at how you can identify the hourly rate, but based around what you are doing. With what he was doing, it probably wasn't going to ever grow the business because he was always paying himself that low rate. So that was when the big shift came, and he went from, like I said, losing money to huge growth. And that's how he was able to build his property management company and now become the landlord coach and teach people how to manage properties. What he was doing was not a good use of his time, and we've all been guilty of it, including me. So this week, tell me, what have you been doing yourself, quote unquote, handling, yet is not a good use of your time, and why? I'd love to help you figure out how to not do it all, how to steer clear of burnout, and how to get out of the weeds. Sometimes it's just taking a step back and looking at everything you've been doing. If you've listened to me for a long time, you've heard me talk about how I've had multiple clients walk around with a notepad and literally write down everything they do all day for at least a few days, if not a week, and then looking at what's not a good use of your time. There's been times where any of you listeners have been like, well, I'm not sure I can afford a helper or an assistant or a full-time property manager or project manager or whatever it is. But at what cost, right? Are you paying yourself technically $11 an hour to do the work when you should be paying yourself $111 an hour or more? Think about it, all right? I look forward to hearing from you. Contact me, sandy@sandyballard.com. Remember, Sandy with an I. DM me, comment, get a hold of me. Find me on my website, badassbusiness.coach. Let me help you level up, because that's what the theme is this year. We're leveling up. Let's do this. Let's stop doing shit that's not a good use of our time. Avoid burnout so we can achieve what we want, achieve more than we want. All right? Have a great week, and I look forward to hearing from you. Cheers.